should be taking a dirt nap after that ragdoll today.
I got lucky.
Luck don't cover it, JB. You got an angel looking after you.
Maybe it's something else.
Welcome to Marvel Cinematic University. I am your professor, Mario Rivera, and joining me is the marvelous doctoral student, Sly Cone MC, who has a bachelor's in the MCU, a master's in the multiverse, and is going for the dissertation in Marvel Studies. Sly, how are you doing?
I am so excited to be here with you today, and we have the return of a guest.
Yes.
So we have another person here today, which is always fun.
That is right. Of course, you might have seen him when we did, I believe, Hawkeye extra credits, where we got to close out that series. We also got to talk about Moon Knight and what we're going to do with Moon Knight, but we'll get there when we get there. But of course, he is the man master over there, Marvel master over at Penultimate Conquest. Eric, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing well today. I am so ready to talk about Ghost Rider.
I think
I remember when we were talking about the show and us doing the show, one of the first people who said anything about this show was you, and you said, I want to be on the Ghost Rider episode. So I'm so excited that we were able to make it happen.
I'm excited to be here.
No, I'm excited because I have not seen this movie probably since it came out. And I'm going to get into it. So let's go ahead and go and start up with our very first class, which, of course, is a history class, to go through all the information about the movie. Of course, this movie is directed by Mark Steven Johnson, who he did Daredevil, right? Am I crazy on that? He did the Daredevil movie? Yes. Yep. So he's responsible for the creations of the Ben Affleck Daredevil, Elektra, and of course our favorite Bullseye, who I'm very, very happy about. And this movie is also written by Mark Steven Johnson. The studio is Columbia Pictures, so he moved from Fox to Columbia, which is responsible for some of the Spider-Man movies. So that's awesome there. And of course, this movie stars Nicolas Cage, Eva Mendes, Sam Elliott, Peter Fonda, Wes Bentley, and Donald Logue. Is this like a Oscar movie? What's going on here? That's crazy.
It is an experience. But Peter Fonda in a movie, The Last Full Measure, fun fact.
Yes.
Also, Wes Bentley in a movie called Gone, fun fact. You know what those two movies have in common?
What do they have in common?
They both feature Sebastian Stan.
God damn it. I didn't know that. Oh, great. He does not escape this channel. It's funny enough, though, actually, before we got into this, I was watching Fresh because finally I got time to watch it. So
yes,
it's very fun.
This movie also has two returns to the show.
Yes.
Because we have Ross from the Hulk, and then
Thunderbolt Ross.
What's his face from Blade?
I can't believe I forgot his character's name in Blade. But yes, we have Sam Elliott, who of course originally was Thunderbolt Ross, and then Donald Logue, who was the lackey vampire to Stephen Dorff's amazing Deacon Frost. So very happy to see them back. Very different characters, very different emotions. But overall, I'm happy to see that they're back doing fun, silly superhero movies. So where can you stream this? You can, of course, stream this on Starz. Starz has packages that you can get free trials on Hulu. So that's how I watched it, which I actually think I already did my Starz thing already. So I accidentally paid $8 for it. So there's that. I have a good month to watch some of the great Starz programming. We'll see what I'll get to. Maybe I'll watch Power. But of course, Eric, normally I give this to Sly, but I want you to hear your take on the plot of this movie, brought to you by IMDb.
All right, everybody, buckle up because it's about to get hot up in here. Of course, we're going to talk about the plot of Ghost Rider, the intricate plot. Christopher Nolan couldn't write this
No.
any better. So here we go. So when the motorcyclist Johnny Blaze finds that his father, Barton Blaze, has terminal cancer, he accepts a pact with Mephistopheles, giving his soul for the health of his beloved father. But the devil deceives him.
Oh.
And Barton dies in a motorcycle accident during an exhibition. Johnny leaves the carnival, his town, his friends, his girlfriend Roxanne. Many years later.
Roxanne.
Why is that not in the movie? That should
Yeah.
have been in the movie.
Should have been in the movie.
Especially when he was like leaving away from her.
Yes.
That one scene in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made it so much better. So many years later, Johnny Blaze becomes a famous motorcyclist who risks his life in his shows, and he meets again now a television reporter. However, Mephistopheles proposes Johnny to release his contract if he becomes the Ghost Rider and defeats his evil son Blackheart, who wants to possess 1,000 evil souls and transform hell on Earth. Dun, dun, dun.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much. And brought to you by, I believe, Claudio Carvalho. Thank you so much for the people that write those IMDb things. One day I might just edit one and just put my own on there, and I won't tell Sly. It'd be hilarious. That would be great. Of course, this movie has comic book characters Johnny Blaze, aka the Ghost Rider, Blackheart, and Mephisto. Even though in the movie they call him Mephistopheles, which I guess is a fictional, not fictional, religious monster character. There's fallen angels in this movie as well. I'm pretty sure they're in the comics. And then I assume Sam Elliott's character is also original Ghost Rider in some of the runs. But I don't know anything about this character. So that's why I'm very excited to talk about this movie. So that concludes our very first class, the history class. So let's go ahead into our open discussion room where we're going to do a Stan Lee seminar. And we're just going to go ahead and openly talk about this movie. I am actually going to start with our guest, Eric. Please, you wanted to be here to talk about this movie? Why?
Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage, 1,000% is Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
This is a bad movie. Don't get me wrong here. This is not a good movie. This is back when, all the superhero movies were copy and paste. Pretty much they all were. It's just let's get some special effects, get weird plots, no thought in any of these characters. But damn, does Nicolas Cage sell the hell out of this movie. Oh my God. He's just so great. That weird Texas accent he's got. It's so strange. He's living that straight edge life, not drinking anything, just having jelly beans, watching nature documentaries. Who can also forget the iconic line, "You still like Italian?"
Yes, you still like Italian.
So just Nicolas Cage just needs to be in everything. He's just, and it's wild too because this is a wacky character. This is a flaming skull dude on a bike.
Yes,
and I feel as though Nick is the best part of this movie. Especially when he has his first transformation. Oh, so good. Actually, funny enough, when I was a freshman in college, I was in a theater class, and I had to actually I did a Dr. Faust's monologue, and I actually channeled some of Nick Cage when especially when he's going through his transformation, when he's like screaming, and I was like, yes, thank you, Nick Cage, for this. So
wonderful. That is wonderful. Sly, this is your first time watching this movie, I assume?
Oh yeah.
An introduction
and
to Ghost Rider.
Is it a movie? Okay, so this movie, again, not great, but fun, right? It, and the thing is, it doesn't really feel like a superhero comic book movie, and I think that's to its benefit. If you tried to put Nick Cage in spandex, that wouldn't work, right? And so they really embraced the action genre for this movie, and so I think it made it a little more enjoyable than it could have been.
For sure. I'm gonna blow some fuckers' minds and tell you that I fell in love with this movie.
Oh my god.
This movie fucking rules. And it's all the things everyone here has said. But as someone who watched this movie in 2007 and was just like, it's whatever. It's Nicolas Cage. He's doing his thing. But since that movie, I've watched things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and I've watched Supernatural. This is just a fucking Supernatural Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode to a T. And I'm like in love with it. It's so cheesy. It's got all these awesome, like silly side villain characters that are goofy as hell. But like, I just want to see a skull man rip ass, like just straight to fight these things. Even though the fighting is not like the craziest thing I've ever seen, visually the shots that when you see the Ghost Rider like running up the side of a building is so goddamn cool. And the look of him, the way he has the spikes that pop up, and I don't know, I don't know. We watched a lot of movies on the show so far. Some really good, high arty stuff, some real dog shit. And you know what? This, to me, I'm putting it in the high art section just because of how much I had so much fun with the way they handled the character, the way they shoot the movie looks great. Mark, Steven Johnson, you're a fucking genius as far as I'm concerned. Like, you cracked the code.
I want to say, it says a lot about us that between the two of us, the bad movies we fell in love with, mine was Elektra and yours was Ghost Rider.
Yes.
But the cinematography in this movie was actually really good. The shot in the carnival with the like devil or whatever, where you could see his like shadow change, was so good. I was like, wow, I was not expecting that level of like cinematography from this movie.
Yeah, and it's clearly like a lot of the shots are in like small locations, like they use that same like alleyway of where his house is like several times, and they use the apartment a few times. But then like you get just like I said, the cool shots of them running up a building and then like doing that awesome 360 no scope like spinning like a move. The fights themselves are like ridiculous, but I love the ingenuity of like, well, how do you kill a water person, or how do you kill a person made out of hair? And just the ridiculousness of it. I just had a lot of fun. And then shout out to Wes Bentley just chewing up screen whenever he can. Like whenever he's on screen, he's got those sick ass sideburns and he's just living for the moment. I think he walked on set like that one day. Like he wasn't in costume. That's just how he looked. You're like, that's perfect. Because everything I've ever seen Wes Bentley in, he's always been a weird freak. Almost everything I've seen him in.
Nothing changed for this one.
Nothing changed. And so I think that's what's fun. I'll even give a shout out to Eva Mendes. I actually kind of enjoyed some of the things. It's very fairy fail and very similar to like the Mary Jane Watson problem of like she ends up just being the thing. And I'm like, I hate that in the movies.
I will say I hated what they did with her for most of it, but as soon as she picked up that shotgun, I fell in love. I was like, you are forgiven. You gave me that moment. It was a beautiful moment.
Yes.
I forgive the rest of your transgressions against female characters.
It's everything. It's everything that Mary Jane Watson couldn't, because remember that there's that scene where she like was gonna like hit Doc Ock with something and then get swatted away. Nah, she straight up shotguns him like several times, and then anyways, yeah, I for some reason I was just I like the beginning of the movie starts. I'm like, do I really like this? I don't know. What am I liking this movie? What's happening? And then the moment that Nicolas Cage comes on screen, he's very stoic and like very like off and weird. I'm like, why is he weird? But I'm also like, he's just living his life at his moment at his time at his pace, and that's why he's so like sardonic the whole beginning. And it's not until he sees Roxanne where he like livens up a little bit, and that to me was like, oh, this is so much fun. So yeah, I'm so shocked at how much I enjoyed it watching this time. It's funny how I'm going back to these movies and seeing like just the traits of them, even though sure they're not bad or they're part of a period of time or the movies are shot in a certain way, but finding little nuggets of fun It's been a blast. Like that was me when we did Fantastic Four. Same thing where it gets cheesy as all hell, but man, for some reason I enjoy looking at those characters in those costumes doing their thing with those people. And this has that same quality, so I'm gonna put it like in that range if I had to say anything. But yeah, that's generally how I feel about this movie.
It's fine because Tessa, she'd never seen them before, and so I got the dual pack of that. I'd never seen the second one.
Yeah.
Until like a few months ago. And so this one, I would say, like out of all like the early 2000s, when we get to Iron Man for the Marvel movies, I put this. I mean, I have like Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, X2.
Yeah.
I think like obviously, I think the best one, 3 in this era so far. It's right underneath it because it's fun, it's campy, it's so much better than most of the other movies Marvel put out during this time. And you mentioned the cheesy. I'm sorry, what?
Go ahead.
So I know you mentioned. Oh my God, Wes.
Yeah, it's Wes Bentley.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Wes Bentley eats it up. Like his first scene when he comes on, he goes to that biker. The biker's like, "Angels only, angels." Really? It's just so weird.
It's so weird. I love that every 5 seconds there's like a flash of like the stupid CGI teeth for him and Mistopheles, which I find a lot of fun. But yeah, everyone. It's so weird how we have like Peter Fonda, Sam Elliott, and they're taking it seriously, in my opinion, and just having a blast. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like everyone's just up their game. Donald Logan's Donald Logan it up, being like the sarcastic like best friend character, and yeah, just having a blast. He of course just dies the weirdest way in the movie. Just sort of like evaporates like paper, and then you never see him again. I don't even think he was there that day. I think they just took a still image of him and then just crumpled it up. That's what it looked like. But yeah, that was an interesting character thing that they decided to do in that movie. But yeah, I can go on.
I will say I don't really care about Nick Cage. I know that'll break a lot of people's hearts. I get the appeal, but it's just not my thing. And I was watching this movie and I was like, he's fine, whatever. And then The Carpenters came on. And I love a man who loves The Carpenters.
Yes.
And then he earned my respect.
That's awesome, man. We're gonna start a new university show. It's gonna be called Nick Cage University, where we just watch all Nick Cage movies. I'll be totally down just to watch.
Man.
It's so funny because we watched Gone in 60 Seconds as a group not that long ago. We were having a blast. So goddamn good.
That was like my favorite movie in middle school.
It was so good. It was so goddamn good. Love it. Anyways, yes. This movie is filled to the brim of cheese, but man, is it delicious cheese. It's all types of awesome, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm very curious how the sequel goes once we get there, because I have not watched it all the way through. I've only watched like the first hour of it, I think. But I don't think I'm going to enjoy it as much as I enjoyed this for some reason. I think they take it very seriously.
I don't want to put too much spoilers out there. Like, watch the show when they do the show. I will say this. It is bad. Like, really bad.
Oh, I can't wait.
Have
you seen The Punisher 2004?
Is
it worse than The Punisher 2004?
Oh, yeah. Like, I think there are some moments of Punisher 2004 that work. I really think parts of those movies really work. Obviously, parts doesn't. But the Ghost Rider sequel is really freaking bad. Like Nick, like we're on first name terms. He goes like over zany. Where in this one it's kind of fun.
Yes.
And everything. The next one, it's so bad. I will let you know, there is a scene where the Ghost Rider pees flames.
Yes. Yes, I've heard.
I kid you not. But
I think that was the trailer.
Like this one's fun. Like the next one is bad, but
So it's so funny because I think the reason why I was expecting the sequel to be better was because it's done by the Crank directors who did Crank 1, Crank 2, and a bunch of other action padding movies in the 2000s. And they, from what I understand, did like a lot of like awesome camera work because they literally strap the camera to themselves and was on a motorcycle and like doing some cool stuff. But yeah, I think the story though
so
here
all
is
over the
pretty,
place. It's
pretty
like
rough.
the camera is rough. Like it's really tough, especially when you're in a superhero movie and you have all those quick cuts.
Yeah.
The quick cut of their shooting, it will make you feel a little queasy.
Yeah, which I will respect in this movie. It felt like it's very stagey, but at the same time, I was like, I respect what you're showing me. It feels like a comic book panel, and when you're doing like fire tornadoes to kill the bad guy, it's like, oh, I can see what's happening. I actually enjoy that. So
And like there were a bunch of cool parts in this movie, especially like when he goes in the swamp towards San Venganza
it's gorgeous.
toward the end, and then he is in the water, and then he just flames on. I
Yeah,
have no other better word to use, and just cooks one of the guys. And then I also enjoy the one where was it the guy, the punk who was trying to rob Rebel, and like he stabs him. He's like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's also a good one.
yeah, it's good. This movie actually looks really good now. I was watching it in Stars, and it looked really great. Like I don't know what's going on, but the cinematography for some reason looked out of this world. The coloring on it, just because it has those really like beautiful blues and blacks, very much like how you would in a comic book panel. So definitely appreciated it for sure. I love when he steals the guy's vest. He's just like, I'm gonna take this vest and then like beat up everybody, and then that one kid's like scared of him. He's just like innocent, and then he just passes out. So good.
There are so many like great one-liners
Yes.
in this film. I can't wait. We'll get to them in the drama class, but there are some iconic lines.
Yes. You actually mentioned her, but I wanted to bring it up that this is, I guess, the first time I've ever saw Rebel Wilson in a movie was her role as the scared person that gets interviewed, which I did not recognize her until I had to look it up in the IMDb credits. I was like, I've seen you before. I'm like, where did I see you before? I'm like, you weren't you in Workaholics? And I'm like, wait a minute, it's the same person. So that all connected in my head for sure. I'm excited so I want to transition to like what could we possibly see Ghost Rider in the MCU. We kind of did with Robbie Reyes in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And yes, I'm counting that as MCU because I love that show, most of it. And what is your thoughts on this Ghost Rider compared to the one that I believe, Sly, you've seen?
Yeah. So obviously my first introduction to this character was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
And we see this Ghost Rider
Yes, we do.
in the like introduction to Robbie Reyes, and I think his characterization was probably much more modern for the comics at the time as a choice for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and was very much more like a family guy kind of character, which I think fit the vibe of that show a lot better.
Yes.
And so I really enjoyed Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought they did really interesting things with that storyline. This is a very different person and a very different character in general. And I just I think it's interesting when we have these comic book characters where it's a like title and not necessarily a person.
Yeah.
And you get to see a bunch of different takes, a bunch of different people like become the title, and I love seeing how people choose which iteration to apply to their project.
Yeah.
And this one being more like a loner dude who like is on this like journey to like honor his father or whatever. I thought that was a really great choice for this tone of movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very different characters. They like I don't think you can really compare them.
Yeah. Eric, what are your thoughts on if you've seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that version, and then where would you want to see Ghost Rider even continue in this world, in the MCU specifically?
So I fell off Agents of Shield. I think like season 3,
Gotcha.
like right before Ghost Rider came on. And I know the character of Robbie Reyes. Like I think you're right. It's like it fit that tone of that show. And obviously like Robbie's cool. Okay, like he's got the cool car and
Yeah.
everything, and he's just got that cool jacket. Even like his design is modern. It's sleek. It's neat, and I think this could be a thing. Kind of like how we got multiple Spider-Men. You can have Miles and you can have Peter. You can have Robbie and you can have Johnny. And so I think that like Robbie's cool and stuff, and modern people like that. I mean, Johnny Blaze just your badass skull face, biker jacket,
Yeah.
just loner hero. And I remember around this time, I did play the Ghost Rider movie tie-in game for PlayStation 2,
Oh,
and that was really fun. Like they tried to make it like Devil May Cry kind of.
really?
It was fun. I had a fun
That's cool.
time.
That's cool.
And then I loved getting Ghost Rider and Marvel Ultimate Alliance because you actually had
me
to
too.
go. You had to go into hell. You had to sacrifice somebody else to get Ghost Rider out, unless you keep playing the game over and over. You already have Ghost Rider, then you just swap Ghost Rider for Ghost Rider, and you don't really have to lose anybody.
Yeah.
So, like I like that where it's like we're in hell and stuff. I think that's cool. I like to see a universe where both exist, where Robbie and Johnny exist. That'd be really cool.
So I'll say, I think the one thing, if I had to like be negative on the movie, other than by overall being really positive on it, the thing that I thought they were setting up in this movie, which was the caretakers meets Johnny almost right away when he transforms. He becomes sort of a mentor character. They have scenes. Then he gets beat up. He has one more scene where he reveals that he's actually the previous Ghost Rider. They go on this long ride, and then he just fucks off somewhere. And I think that to me was like, oh, I thought you guys would come up and team up, right? You guys would go in there, and there's a fairly powerful bad guy you could both take on, right? But no, he just disappears into the After Effects file. Like you just see him like evaporate, and I'm like, oh, okay, is the soul released? Like they don't really explain it. But I would love for Robbie Reyes to come back to the MCU, in making everything Agents of Shield canon completely. But have that Johnny Blaze part there as well, and then you can have like an army of Ghost Riders riding together and going into battle if it is like a battle of hell. I personally think that this is, everyone keeps thinking we're getting little teases here and there in maybe Moon Knight, or even of course Blade being introduced is already bringing some horror elements. Now we can bring in devils and angels since we already have gods of some sort. And I think Ghost Rider could easily fit within that family, and possibly the Midnight Suns thing where all the supernatural heroes gather together to fight the forces of bad. And how badass would it be to have Robbie Reyes or even Johnny Blaze team up? Even if they were both on the team, I think it would be awesome. Or they have to go reach and find one of them,
Do you think we would get a Nick Cage cameo in Multiverse of Madness?
Please. Please. I would love for it. I don't know what that movie is.
If they had anybody, it would probably be the Johnny from Agents of Shield. But if you could pull Nick Cage again, that would be amazing.
I wish. I just have him ripping and roaring in the background, and then he just disappears, like it's the same one. Like I'd be totally down for that personally. But yeah, I mean, God, we could go on a whole tangent about Multiverse of Madness and how I feel about that movie, because I'm all over the place with it, and I don't know if much of it's positive, which is weird. I don't want to be that way, but it's only because I feel like I'm fueled by is Johnny is Johnny Blaze going to be in it? Is Johnny Storm going to be in it? Chris Evans is Johnny Storm. Wouldn't it be great if he just came back as Johnny Storm? But otherwise, we'll see, because it's coming very, very soon. And I am excited. I'm not going to say I'm not excited.
All I need is Ash Williams. That's all. If there's Ash Williams in the movie, I'm good. I don't need any other Marvel cameos. Just put the Necronomicon and Ashley Williams in the movie.
Which of course is from Evil Dead, which is Sam Raimi's past film, and he's actually that character has in the comic books has crossed over with Marvel for Marvel Zombies, and that was awesome because he I think he dressed up as Doctor Doom at one point and made Doctor Doom mad. It was funny. By the way, we love Doctor Doom on this podcast, just so you know. Shout out to Shotgun McPain for doing an excellent TikTok of our episode. That was by far one of the funniest things I've laughed at all week.
Okay, we gotta ask Eric: is Victor Doom a top or a bottom?
You know, I was seeing this on the internet with you guys last
Some say it's
few
viral
weeks.
on TikTok.
Some would say it's viral. You know, I haven't put much thought into this. I will admit that.
Neither does the comments.
Victor, very egotistical, thinks very highly of himself. Probably doesn't want to have to do a lot of work. I'll say that. So I'm saying here for the audience, to answer the question here, I think Victor Von Doom is a power bottom.
Okay.
I
think that's what he's got going on there. Like, obviously, at a moment's time, he could switch into Emperor God Doom if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, I think he's like, you know what? I rule a country. I don't have time. You do the work, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Appease me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's your
glad
answer.
we agree.
Fantastic. I guess I'll transition.
Aha.
Yeah, I didn't even think. Okay, thank you. Does this movie hold up? Is it still worth watching? I will ask the question to Sly first. Does this movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was a fun time. Obviously it has all the downfalls of a mid 2000s movie
Yes.
of there's no decent female characters. There's not very diverse cast going on here.
No.
But it's a star-studded cast. It's zany, it's fun, it's good action. Well, it's decent action. Don't set your hopes too high on this movie, but if you want to have a fun time and you want to watch Nick Cage be an awkward Texan dude, it's a great time.
Yeah. Okay. Eric, do you think this movie holds up, and is it still worth watching today?
I would say it's worth watching today. I don't think it holds up. It's not a very good movie, but it's held together. Okay, so I would watch this movie again only for that. Like, that's what I got. That's what I got going for. Had it been anybody else,
Sure.
anyone else as Johnny Blaze, they would have just stunk. I wouldn't have thought about this movie ever again. But because it's Nick Cage, and just
You know what? It's funny you say that. You're absolutely right. This movie, I don't think it honestly could be held together with duct tape, with unless you didn't have Nick Cage. I think he specifically comes to life near the last act of the movie when he's like fighting Blackheart, and he looks awesome in that like outfit with the chains and everything. And so I wanted to watch more like almost immediately after I finished the movie. However, I will say, they 100% CGI his body. There's no way in hell his body looked like that. There's no freaking way. You see when he's in the wall, you shared the gif when he does this, right? And he's like got the body of a god, like absolutely stacked. But yeah, I'm gonna say this movie, not only does it hold up, it's still worth watching in a sense of if you enjoy campy movies, if you like having a fun protagonist going up silly monsters, it's fun. If you like weird quippy jokes that may land still, yeah. If you like Supernatural, you'll probably enjoy this movie. Like, I don't think it doesn't have the scrutiny of just even that level of fun. So I definitely,
this movie is better than some episodes. Definitely better than some episodes of
probably
Louisiana.
Seasons
of Louisiana. Supernatural.
Seasons
Better than season 10.
Yeah.
Better than season 10. This
There
is
you
better
go.
than season 10 of Supernatural.
Yes, 100%. It's all. This is better than. No, I love every season of Buffy. I don't know what I was gonna say. But yes, I don't know. Like, my cat's eating on my desk right now. What is this? Eating a piece of chapstick paper. Okay, you're banned. You're banned. Get out of here. You're banned. You're banned from the show. They're gonna come back in like 10 seconds. But yeah, I think this movie, it holds up quite well. So I think it's time we close our little discussion here, Stanley Seminar. Moving on to some drama class, which go ahead, Eric, stretch out because I'm gonna make you go to work. Okay. All right, we're in drama class. Do you want to do the first one, Sly? Since I think you're the one who contributed this specific line.
Oh yeah. Okay, so all of Mac's lines were my favorites.
Okay.
So like, and just every time he said something, I was probably laughing. But one of my favorites was the "Call me old-fashioned. I'm funny that way. Human sacrifice makes me uncomfortable."
It's a great line. It's a great line. Mac, Donald Logue, I love you. You shouldn't have died like a crumpled piece of paper.
Justice for Mac.
Justice for Mac. Justice for Han. Justice for Barb. Justice for Mac. Sounds good. Blackheart. If Eric, can you please do this Blackheart line?
Now, I want everyone to know the context of this scene. If I was watching, priest comes into the church and Blackheart is at the altar lighting candles and stuff. Now, I want you to picture we got some nice 70s saxophone music going on right now. Priest walks in. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Dramatic pause. I've sinned a lot.
You channeled Wes Bentley perfectly. Oh boy. Sly, you want to go for the next one? It's more Mac.
Oh yeah. This is in the apartment, and it's like all of the books are propping up the motorcycle. What was the motorcycle's name? Grace?
Grace. Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, and he picks up one of them, looks at it, and like throws it aside and goes, "I'm worried about you because you're filling your head with all this comparative exponential religiosity crap."
So good. So good. I don't know if you can hear right now. Apparently someone's having a celebration. They love that we're doing Ghost Rider. They're doing fireworks ablaze.
Woo.
That's right. Shout out. I don't know. It just randomly just started. It's in the middle of April. They're in love. They're in love for Johnny Blaze, which is perfect because we're gonna go through this next segment here. So who wants to be Johnny Blaze in this next one? Because I want to be the caretaker. I want to try my best, Sam Elliott.
Eric, take it away.
Eric,
Okay,
you're gonna
right.
be Johnny Blaze. The context of this scene, of course, is you get to be Jack. You get to be Nicolas Cage. The context of this scene, obviously, is he wants him to give him the contract because he's gonna go rescue Roxanne.
All right. He may have my soul, but he doesn't have my spirit.
Any man that's got the guts to sell his soul for love has got the power to change the world. You do it for greed. You're doing it for the right reason. Maybe that's puts God on your side. To them, that makes you dangerous, makes you unpredictable. The best thing you can do right now. Love it. Love him. Love. Every time we talked, I was like, yes, Sam Elliott, keep talking. Please. Love it. This next one, there looks like there's two of do it. Slide, me and you. You want to do this one?
Yeah, sure. I don't care who I am. I just want to be in this one.
All right, I'll be Officer Mackey.
Okay. What's the suspect's location?
Up.
What?
The suspect is going up. Again.
That poor windshield washer.
Yeah.
Where he's just trying to make a living, and just, the glass just melts.
Yeah. Honestly,
Poor dude.
No, absolutely poor dude, but good on Ghost Rider for not just exploding that man by accident. Like, because we see a gecko burn the fuck up in the desert. Sorry, Rango, but this poor guy is just like, okay. Such a weird joke. I put this one in here. Sly, let's do this one. How much Nas do you put in the tank? Sorry, that was my Nicolas Cage. How much Nas did you put in the tank?
Enough to shame the space shuttle.
Yeah, loved it. That was a fun joke when I laughed. I did a little giggle when I heard that originally.
And
The best part of that was he was like, awkwardly like turned the other way and
Yes.
like muttering.
And the crazy thing is, there's so many other good like one-liners in this too, especially when like they arrest him and they put him in prison. Like, no, get out of here! You gotta keep it. Like, what are you tripping out on something?
Yeah.
And he get the nice jacket.
God.
Also, one that even my own dad laughed at, and he doesn't laugh at a lot of movies. The one where like Ghost Rider's in the church is like, sterilize it for me in the boiling water.
I love it. Oh, okay. Well,
This movie was so fun.
it was. It's so good. I adore it. I want it on 4K Blu-ray, not the Punisher. I sadly own that. Still pissed about that. That, of course, includes drama class. We will now be moving into music room, where we're going to be talking about some of the musics of this era. The superhero movies of this era are remembered for their original soundtracks. Does this music in this movie hold up, or have many songs that are still bangers today? And you know what?
Let me tell ya.
Yeah.
Usually Mario's the one to nerd about music in this segment, right? He's usually the one talking about all the great songs, the classics in there that like whatever. This movie had so much music that was sly ass music. We open it up, right? We're early into the film and fucking Crazy Train comes on. And I go, oh my god, not Crazy Train. What a moment. And then immediately after, we got a ZZ Top moment. Love ZZ Top. Iconic. And as previously mentioned, lots of the Carpenters. Like, you can't go wrong. Like, all the music in this movie fucking slaps.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. Like, even it's the Carpenters being like sort of like a thing about the character. I love that. Like, even though the crazy music was very much like his show music, he's backstage listening to the Carpenters and he's doing it at home. Like, that's his go home music. It's not his stage stuff. And I find that really funny about the character and what it says about it. But yeah, overall, I think when I think of like the superhero movies and they have songs, it's usually the songs of the time. I think this was a good use of songs of the past to apply to a character that's very old school, very West, which is like very much in the lore of the character. And so, yeah, I thought that was kind of cool to putting this, Ozzy Osbourne song, this crazy like going wild song next to then ZZ Top, which is very like Southern, like Westy kind of stuff. And then the Carpenters are just also overlaid on top of that, which I really enjoyed as well. So yeah, 100%. Anything else stand out for you, Eric? And the sound, I think pretty much those are the three bangers, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that was pretty much the deal there. But yeah, shout out to those songs. Those will be added to our playlist, which is both on our Spotify and Apple Music playlist. So definitely check those out. Going in and out to my favorite segments, we're of course walking into quiz time, which I always say like Macho Man Randy Savage for some reason. So Eric, you probably know a lot of these answers, and so I'm going to refer to you second on them. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start with Sly. And as I told Sly before we started, these are not questions about Ghost Rider specifically. These are questions about Nicolas Cage. And so I'm very, very excited to see if you know any of this.
I'm going to do so poorly. I'm so sorry.
You might,
to all the Nick Cage fans up there, I apologize in advance.
You might be okay in this one. But before we do that, of course, we have to ask the question, is Stan Lee in this movie? And the first answer is I said no.
So.
No, he's not. He's not anywhere near her for some reason. He was in Daredevil.
Thank God.
Yeah, good for him. I guess at this time, 2007? They're probably shooting Iron Man, so he's just now working with Marvel on there, maybe. But this is crazy that this movie came out before Iron Man. That's wild. That is weird.
Like 15 months before it too, which is wild.
And The Dark Knight. Don't forget about that. The Dark Knight also happened as well. And life was different ever since. So we're going to go ahead and start. Nick, the first answer is no. So you get a point for that. Everyone gets a point for the fact that Stan Lee is not in this movie. All right. So for the first question, Sly. This is the first time Nicolas Cage has portrayed a comic book character on the big screen, but there was one failed attempt before this that never happened. Which superhero Nick Cage originally was set to play? A. Batman. B. Green Lantern. C. Punisher. D. Superman.
See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like the obvious answer would be Punisher, but we just had a Punisher movie.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming they didn't. Nobody was pitching two Punisher movies that close together,
No.
right?
No.
Like, so.
Now, I'll say this. The question is about a movie that didn't happen at the same time as Ghost Rider. It could have happened earlier in his career. Now, he's had movies since the 80s. Okay?
Yeah. I feel like I could see him as Batman. I could see somebody trying to pitch that. And I'll go with Batman. I have no idea.
Okay, so Sly's answer is Batman. And Eric, what is your answer to this question?
I'm going to go with D, Superman.
The answer, of
I
course,
could see it.
is D, Superman. Now,
I can
Sly,
see it.
you're on the same wavelength, actually, because if you remember, Tim Burton did a little movie called Batman. Tim Burton was going to do Superman with Nick Cage. There's actually a photo of Nick Cage that is famous on the internet of him wearing the Superman suit, which Kevin Smith wrote, which is kind of awesome. But yes, in the original, I think before the, it was like in the 90s, he was originally going to be Superman, and it was going to be very weird, and the costume is very weird as well. And you know what? I'm happy, sad that it didn't happen. Part of me is like, I kind of wish it did, just for the oddity of it. But also, I'm like, thank God.
I think Brainiac was supposed to be the bad guy.
Brainiac was supposed to be the bad guy. He was supposed to have a gay robot assistant, if I'm not mistaken, and there was a giant spider. That, yeah, those are all things. If you want to hear Kevin Smith talk about it, it's wild. He talks about how he was in charge of writing the story, which, sadly did not happen.
Now, before we move on, Nick Cage did get to play Superman.
He did.
Eventually.
He did. And what project was that?
Teen Titans Go to the movies.
That's right. He was Superman and Teen
Wow.
Titans Go to the movies.
That's a choice.
That is a choice.
Halsey was
indeed.
Wonder Woman.
Halsey was Wonder Woman. That's right. Yep. I can't wait till we eventually do DC University and then we go and watch Teen Titans Go to the movies, which not a bad
That's
movie.
so good. Oh,
not a
it's
bad
so
movie.
good.
Oh my God. The scene
Let
where
me tell ya.
Yeah.
I was a huge Teen Titans fan. That was my shit.
Yeah.
I did not get into Teen Titans Go. I hate to say.
No, I understand. There's a great scene where they're like, well, what if we stop superheroes are created from trauma, so let's try and stop them from trauma. So they stop Bruce Wayne's parents from getting murdered, and then they realize they fuck up, and like, fuck, we actually got to go get them murdered. So they get them murdered later. It's so funny. They push them in the alley.
But that's not even. But they throw like used soda wrapper stuff into the ocean to mess with Aquaman.
That's a good movie.
Oh man.
It's a really good
love
movie.
Teen Titans Go. It's so fun.
That's funny. All right. I'm going to move on to the next question. Again, asking Sly first, then I'll move on. Nick Cage's real name is Nicholas Kim Coppola. He's one of the Coppola kids. Cage's stage name is inspired by which Marvel superhero? So I don't have a multiple choice. If you know a superhero, who do you think inspired Nicolas Cage?
Is it the obvious answer?
I couldn't find other people named Cage, so you let me know.
Okay, then I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say maybe Luke Cage, the only other Cage I know of.
That's right. Luke Cage is the inspiration, as well as I believe a composer named I think his name is also Cage as well. That inspired Nick Cage to change his name from Coppola, who wanted to be taken seriously as an actor, so he named himself after a comic book character. So
good for him, man.
Shout out.
Good for him.
Yeah, he didn't want the nepotism of being a Coppola, so he wanted to be on his own path. So good for him. Third question is, how much was Nick Cage's comic book collection worth when he sold them in 2002? He was getting married to Elvis Presley's daughter, and I think the rumor is she made him get rid of his comic books. That's probably not real, but he did sell them.
I would have called off the engagement.
Thank you. And of course, at the time, he had, I think, like copies of Superman, like original copies of Superman, Batman, all that. So how much do you think it was worth? I do have the news article at the bottom which I think says says it at the bottom of the article link.
I would scroll down that far. 2002.
Yes. What are comic books worth in 2002?
How big was this collection?
It was a pretty big collection from what I understand.
Okay.
I forgot how many of the here. Actually, maybe I'll pull up the article and see how much were actually in it. But it was big titles. It was like the first appearances of things. It was a pretty big deal, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. There was
It's like-
400 books.
Jeez.
Yes.
Okay. Then a solid couple million, at least. Like
I'll just go ahead and give it to you.
10, 15?
Oh, too high. So it
Too
ended up,
high?
yeah, it ended up only being about 1.6 million for 400 books,
Okay.
which, I guess pretty respectable
Oh,
at the time.
2002. I kept trying to think like 2002 numbers in my
Sure.
head, and then at the same time I was like 400 comic books now could get a pretty funny.
Pretty penny as well.
But yeah.
Okay.
Couple million. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. This question I'm going to go to you first, Sly, but then I think Eric is going to probably ring this one in. Okay. What is Nick Cage's son's name? Is it not? I put Karl L. Kal El.
Kal-El?
Kal El
Okay.
is the spelling. I put Karl L for some reason. Dick Grayson, Peter Parker, or Luke Cage?
Man. Ooh. Okay. I feel like of all of these options, Luke Cage cannot be the answer because that's just too ridiculous. You don't name yourself and your kid after the same person.
Sure.
I feel like I feel like Kal-El is just out there enough that that's the vibe I'm getting from Nick Cage. I'm gonna go with Kal-El.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Eric, what is your answer?
Kal-El.
It is in fact
Oh, really?
100% Kal-El. Who I believe is now a rock star, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, his name is Kal-El, which I'm forever jealous. That's awesome, and also probably traumatizing. Which is why he's a rock star. But yeah, congratulations to both of you. It doesn't matter who wins or loses. This is an awesome pop quiz of Nicolas Cage's career. Thank you so much. Nicolas Cage, of course, then got on to also play in Kick-Ass as Big Daddy, as an awesome Adam West impression. But yeah, shout out to Nick Cage and everything. We're already near the end here, and we're going to go close it up and go into homeroom and just do some final thoughts on the movie. Eric, I'm going to give you the final take on this. What is your final thoughts on Ghost Rider?
A very dated movie set in a time when superhero movies were starting to find their footing. Kind of. Obviously, some loose footing, and superhero movies didn't really start getting, where they are now till Iron Man, Dark Knight year. Batman Begins is the only caveat to that. Batman Begins is the best Nolan Batman movie, and I'll stand by that.
All right.
So I think it's really good. I am severely hoping in Nick Cage's new movie, the excessive weight of massive talent.
Think about
that there is something Ghost Rider related. I hope he does something Ghost Rider related. It's going to be very good. I know there's going to be Face Off, all this stuff. Just Nick Cage is one of Hollywood actors, and I also will stand by that.
Yeah.
And he just has so much fun with this movie. He brings that Nick Cage quality to where you don't know what it's going to be. But he has fun. The movie is fun. Very bad CGI, but it's a good time. It's a good hour, 40 minutes of get some popcorn, have a few beers, something like that. It's fun to watch with your friends. So I recommend this movie to watch. But
I just realized we never talked about at the top if who watched the regular cut and who watched the extended cut, because I watched the extended cut.
Oh, you did? Movie. Oh no!
Yeah, I have no idea what was different, but I did.
I
think it was 10 minutes longer or something.
Yeah, I think the difference is the black part Sam Elliott scene. I think that's in it because I think in the original cut he just calls Sam Elliott's like, "You just took the contract. I don't know where he's going." Stuff like that. Whereas in the extended cut, they actually show Blackheart come up, be like, "Give me the contract." Ah.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Sly, what is your final thoughts on Ghost Rider?
It's a movie. It's a mid 2000s movie with an insanely star-studded cast.
Yes.
Like, wow, the names they have. It's fun. It's ridiculous. I enjoyed it. I obviously did not love it as much as you did, Mario, but I had a good time with this. And compared to some other movies we've watched for the show, that's a pretty high bar.
Yes.
Is enjoyment.
I agree. It's very, very much so. That this movie is a place in time, but I think it's at the end of an era of a place in time where movies were sort of this very much how Erica said, cookie cutter, sort of like this is this origin story of your character. This is sort of the A plot. Here's the B plot, and then we're wrapping it up. I will say, I think this movie is the pinnacle of that formula in terms of just having a character who. I think you only relate to him only because it is Nick Cage, sadly, but it's Nick Cage and he just so happens to elevate that material in the way that Nick Cage does. And so that alone, I think, is worth the price of admission, as well as when he eventually at the end has full costume, pulling out the shotgun, looking really, really cool. I think that in terms of a action movie, you can go way better, obviously, but you also can't go wrong with this if you just wanted to throw something up on TV and just watch a couple minutes of it. Now, that being said, I will definitely be looking for this on 4K Blu-ray if I do, because for some reason, there's some shots in this movie that honestly look incredible for CGI of that time that I thought look really cool. Now, granted, the skull face thing is probably the weakest out of elements, but there are shots of him in the bike and the chain, like those things, like those awesome composed shots, I think was really cool. And so with that, I would say, yes, not only should you definitely still check this movie out, look for it. Honestly, actively seek it out. It's in my ranking now of some of the best movies that we've done on the show. Now, that wanes in quality going forward. I'm excited though. I think eventually when we close out this decade, I'm very excited to see where all these movies go on like our individual rankings on how we felt about them. So very, very much excited about that. Well, this has been a fun time. We're going to go ahead and break this up and go set up for homework, which, of course, is going to be Spider-Man 3. We're closing out the Sam Raimi trilogy. We're closing the book on yet another franchise before we move on to its new version of the franchise. But yeah, very excited to see how we respond to that. Eric, where can people find you on the net?
You can find me at Eric C. Ginn on Twitter. I do, like Mario said at the top, I do another Marvel show, Marvel Mondays Initiative for Penultimate Conquest. We are doing our Moon Knight Episode 3 review tomorrow. Excited about that. Really excited, Doctor Strange coming up. We'll be talking about some theories, probably stuff like that, since we have, new footage to look at. But yeah, I think that's about it. For me, Marvel wise, just trying to make stuff and be a dad at the same time. It's very tough. They don't teach you anything. The American education system is bad. They don't teach you what you actually need to know.
No, not at all. Taxes and how to actually take care of babies.
Yeah. And remember, everyone, I'm the only one who could walk on both worlds. I'm Ghost Rider.
You fight fire with fire. Love it. Sly, where can people find you on the
You can find me everywhere personally at SlyClanMC. You can find me yelling about 911 on TikTok Lives on Thursday nights with former guest of the show, JJ. You can find me yelling about video games on Point in Progress, and you can find me yelling about Marvel and media and pop culture on We'll Throw the After Party, which is at After Party SHO on all the socials.
That is awesome. And of course, you could find all of this here on Point in Progress, where we do our MC University show. We do Point in Progress podcast. We have the MCS show, which has been going on well. And then, of course, I just wrapped up Tremors in Review, my April Fool's love letter to Kind of Funny, where I decided to do 3 Tremors movies with the lovely folks, Iso Christian, friend that you personally know, Jose Rucas, Michael Ruiz, and then we were just joined by the mix master, lover of all things Tremors, Levi, who was really awesome. Doing fun stuff every time we can. So until next time, get ready for Spider-Man 3. I'm very excited. Class is dismissed.
Story goes that he'll be normal during the day, but at night, in the presence of evil, the Rider takes over.
I'm the only one who can walk on both worlds.